I don't know if it's obvious, but I'm trying not to cry because I'm not gonna cry on here.
Shit. I don't even know what to say, y'all. I don't think it's nothing you really can say.
Hey y'all, welcome. I've been gone so long that I can't welcome y'all back. I might as well have started over. So just welcome to my channel. I'm Krishna. I've been gone for a long time, and I'm here to just talk about what's been going on. It took me a while to make this video only because I really didn't want to, but I do feel like it needs to be made because I'm the reason it took me so long to come back. So for me, I feel like this is the video that needs to be done for me to even start anything back up. I just want to explain, what's been going on, what happened, why I disappear, and what is going to happen from here. My last video was in October, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember exactly when, but I posted a video early October, and that was it. So after that, Friday had came. I'm pretty sure it was the 9th, and I work. So I was at work, and I got a text from my sister. Y'all remember my sister, Kirsten? She texted me and said to call her when I get off. And when my shift had ended, I actually didn't see the message because I was still at work. So she called me, and she said that I needed to come to my auntie house. My sister, she lived with my auntie and my cousin, Nene. Y'all met her. She did a video with me and my sister. Yeah, so my auntie is my cousin's mom. My mom and my aunts are sisters. So I grew up with my auntie. She's always been a part of my life, period. Like always. Like she helped raise me and my siblings. I have 5 siblings. She would help raise us. And yeah, she's just always been in my life, period. But anyway, so my sister, she called me and she told me that I should get over there. My sister is a very emotional person. And to me, she doesn't hide her feelings or emotions well. At least not to me, because she's my sister. I've known her whole life, so I could tell something was wrong. Like she seemed uneasy. She was scared. But my auntie called into work that Friday because she didn't feel good, and my sister didn't feel comfortable leaving her home alone, so she called into work also. So they were at home together all day, and my sister just called me when I got off to come over there because she didn't know what to do. So I went over there, and I remember I talked to them on the phone the whole way, and my sister was just telling me the details of what had happened throughout the day with my aunt and what made her get to this point, because they were having a conversation. And in the middle of that conversation, I can't remember what they were talking about, but my auntie just started shaking and she stopped talking. And it's almost as if she blacked out, but she didn't pass out. But my sister was like shaking her, and she was like calling her like, honey, like what's going on, honey? And then all of a sudden, my auntie just snapped out of it, and she was like, what? She said, what just happened? She said, I don't remember what we was talking about. My sister said, what just happened? She goes, I don't know. So that's when my sister got scared. So talking to them, and she telling me this story, I'm thinking she had a seizure. That's what it sounds like to me. I'm not a doctor, but it sounds like she had a seizure. And she needs to go to the doctor. But the reason my sister called me is because my auntie didn't want to go to the doctor. She doesn't like hospitals. and I really don't know anybody that does. And when I get there, I'm like, so what do you want to do? And like, you need to do something. You can't just sit here. So my sister brought up urgent care. So we were getting ready to take my auntie there. And just talking to my auntie, you could tell that something was wrong. And she's just wobbling when she walks. So I'm helping her walk. I was like, you want to like lean on me? And I love my auntie. She's a big girl. But I felt like, I mean, you know, she needed a little assistance walking. So I was just like, you want to lean on me? She was like, no, I got it. And we were coming out of the house. So she walks out by herself. And we were going down the steps. And I was like, honey, just lean on me. Let me help you get down the steps. So we're walking and she's walking slow. Like she has no energy. And my sister tells me that she ain't ate in the past couple of days. And I'm like, what is going on? And my auntie, she's just talking. She's like, I'm not sick. Because she was coughing. And she's like, I'm not sick, y'all. I got bronchitis. I don't have COVID. I just got bronchitis. That's it. And we was like, well, okay, that's fine. We gotta get you to the doctor. And she was like, I'm not trying to scare y'all. My auntie is one of the most selfless people I know. Like, she just cares about others a lot. And a lot more than other people care about people. We all get in the car, me, my sister, Kirsten, my Aunt Honey, and my cousin Nene. We get in the car and we go to urgent care. And I would run in there and I asked them if I can get a wheelchair because, again, my auntie, she's wobbling. Like she's stumbling, she's walking slow. Like you could tell she didn't have the energy. So they let me get the wheelchair and I bring my auntie in. And I'm just explaining to them everything that happened and what I think is going on. So I mentioned that I think she probably either had a stroke or a seizure. Again, not a doctor, but and they're just doing like some physical tests on her. I mean, it's urgent care. It's not like they're taking her back to the CAT scan or whatever. I mean, they don't have all that equipment there. But they're like asking her to like raise up her arms and they help her do it. So she raising up her arms and they're like holding her hands like this. And they let her go and tell her to keep her arms up. So she drops and she tries to bring them back up and she's shaking. And I'm like, they don't even take her to the back. The first thing the lady says after she does those couple of tests, she goes, well, I do think something is wrong. I'm not sure what it is, but I mean, we don't, like I just said, we don't have the equipment here to be able to figure it out and fix it. She goes, so I do think you need to go to a hospital. Manny said no, she didn't want to go to the hospital because she didn't have insurance, one, and she doesn't like hospitals either. But she didn't have insurance, so she was like, I don't want to go to the hospital. And the lady said, I know, but I really feel like you should go to the hospital. And my auntie, she looks at me and she goes, you gonna take me to the hospital? And I said, yeah, if you need to go to the hospital, I'm gonna take you to the hospital. And then the lady goes, well, I feel like we should call an ambulance. I prefer you take an ambulance to go to the hospital. And my auntie was like, no. She goes, I don't want them to stick me. They're gonna stick me. And I laughed because this whole time I was just worried because she wasn't being herself. And I told them that, I was like, she's not being herself. Like everything that's happened that I've told you so far is not normal. And then she goes, oh Lord, I know they're gonna stick me, And I just laughed and I was like, okay, that's normal. But everything else wasn't. And she was like, yeah, they're probably gonna stick you, but I still feel like the ambulance is the best option. So my auntie agrees. So we wait for the ambulance to come. And I offered to ride with them, but they was like, no, they got it. They just wanted identification for her just in case. So I gave them her ID, and then I hopped in my car with my sister Kirsten and my cousin Nene, and we just followed the ambulance on up to the hospital. And we called my mom to tell her that my aunt was in the hospital. We called my brother Tristan, y'all know Tristan, and we called my aunt's oldest daughter, Dree. So she has two daughters, my cousin Nene, which you met, and her oldest daughter is my cousin Dree. We're on the phone with my mom, and we're just sitting outside of the waiting room for the ER. And you know, we're just waiting to see what's going on. And we sat there for a while. Like, we thought we couldn't go in at all. So that's why we sat outside for so long. But after a while, I was just like, let's just go in and just check. So me and my cousin, Nene, we walked in and we just asked, you know, what's going on. We just wanted, you know, some answer, something. You know, I mean, I guess there was a lot of people there. I really don't know what the long wait was, but we was like, well, can we see her? It was like, she can only have one visitor, you know, due to the pandemic. So it can only be one person in a 24-hour period. So I was like, okay, so her daughter's here and my cousin's 19. So I called my mama and I told, we told everything, told her everything that was going on. And they was suiting Nene up to go in the hospital because, you know, she's COVID and all that. And I gave Nene my phone because Nene didn't have a phone anyway. So it's not that she could put Nene down as an emergency anyway. So I gave Nene my phone. She's on the phone with my mama. And she went back to the room to talk to the doctor. So my brother, at this point, he showed up and he was actually on three-way with me and my mom. I gave Nene my phone. And this is when Tristan comes. So now Tristan's here and we can hear what's going on the phone with the doctor because Nene's in there with her mom, my Aunt Honey, and the doctor. So the doctor had told us, he had told us that her oxygen levels are low, so they were going to give her some oxygen. And she's, you know, she's very weak. And I mean, she hadn't eaten in a few days, so that's it too. And she's very dehydrated and stuff like that. And my mama asked, what's going on? And the doctor tells us, well, this is exactly how he said. Well, first things first, she tested positive for COVID. My cousin Nene just went crazy. She was like, oh my God, COVID, what? Oh my God, no. And once we were told that she had COVID, the doctor told us, because we told her that we were going to come back and see her. And then we were told that since she's positive for COVID patients can't have visitors. That's literally what we were told the day my auntie went to the hospital. So we didn't go back up there the next day. The doctors just kept calling me, updating me, letting me know what's going on with my auntie. And I was asleep. I think it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I got a call and I answered and it was the hospital. And they told me that my auntie's oxygen levels dropped really low. So they had to put her on the ventilator. I was scared and I was nervous and I didn't know what to do. So I just called my mama after I got off the phone with the doctor and I told her what they told me. And at that moment, I didn't know exactly why they were calling me. Because I mean, I put myself down as an emergency contact because I couldn't think of anybody else. I put my mom down and I put me down because at that moment, I didn't know Dree's number and I don't talk to anybody else in my family. So I told my mom, I got in contact with my cousin Dree, and she told me that she was trying to call the hospital and they wouldn't give her any information. And I assumed it's because, I mean, we only put me and my mom down as emergency contact. So I was like, okay, she's not down as emergency contact. So and they told her that they would only talk to me. They told her if I gave consent for them to talk to her, then they would tell her. But I have to be on the phone with them. I was like, okay, I mean, yeah, we can do that. It's your mom. So we called the hospital. And I even tried to add Dree to the emergency contact list since, you know, we have her number now. And they told us that my auntie told them to call me. And so that's when I found that out. So when my auntie got to the hospital, they asked for emergency contact, like who is the best person to contact in case something happens. And she said me. And not thinking anything would be that serious anyway. That's why she didn't like put my mom or anything like that down. So she just put me down since I was there. But so me and Dree call and they give us an update on my auntie's condition. So she's still on the ventilator. They had to bump her up a little bit more because her oxygen levels were dropping. But they're trying to wean her off. So they, you know, as she improves, they'll just keep bringing it down. But when they brought her down, she wasn't showing some good signs, so they brought her back up. So it was really a couple of days like that. So Friday, after we found out that my aunt tested positive for COVID, obviously all of us were worried because my sister stayed with my aunt the whole day. My cousin, she lives there too. I was in the car, like we all rode in the car together to urgent care and no one was masked. So as soon as I found out, I did call my supervisor and I told her the situation. She asked me how long had I been exposed. I said, I don't know. I mean, I drove up to my auntie house, and then from my auntie house to urgent care, it's not really that far. So I said 5-10 minutes. And then she was like, okay, as long as you weren't exposed for more than 15 minutes, then you're good. And I was like, okay. So I went to work Monday. So Monday, I got a call right on my lunch break. Right as soon as I left for lunch, the doctor called me and he told me that we needed to do something because at that point, my aunt was doing okay as long as she was on the ventilator, which is not good. So she's fine on the ventilator, which means she won't be if they take her off, and she can't stay on the ventilator forever, obviously. So we needed to do something. So he told me the options that we had. There was option 1, which is recommended. They did a plasma transfusion. So they took plasma from people who had COVID and beat it and put it in the people who currently have COVID. So those blood cells can help their immune system fight off the disease. I asked what was the rate of success for this. It was about a 50% success rate, which I didn't like hearing, but I asked and I needed to know. But the second one was a drug that was developed due to the outbreak of this disease that is, again, this is new. So the drug isn't an FDA approved thing. So there's no stats, no statistics on it. So he couldn't give me a success rate. So our options were either to do nothing, because we didn't have to do either one. He's just giving us options because he thinks at this point, since she's only doing fine on the ventilator, that we either need to do something instead of nothing. So those are the 3 options we had. Do nothing, do the plasma transfusion, or the drug that isn't FDA approved. And I didn't know what to do. Like, he's calling me, he's telling me all this stuff, and I know why. I mean, I know why it needs to be done. I get that. But I wasn't ready mentally, physically. I couldn't handle it. So as soon as I got off the phone, I called my mom, and I, again, tried my best not to cry. And we called my cousin, Dree, the oldest of my aunt's 2 daughters. And we talked about it. And I stayed quiet. My mama was talking to my cousin because my grandparents passed away. My grandparents had 3 kids, my mom and 2 of my aunts. My mom is the oldest. So they dealt with this twice because both of their parents passed away. So my mom is a little bit more able to deal with this situation than I or even my cousin was, because my cousin is younger than me. She's 21. So we called my cousin, and I mean, we really left it up to my aunt's daughters what they wanted to do. We told Dree about the options that the doctor gave, and we talked to Nene, and they both came to the same decision of what they wanted to do, and we agreed with them. Not that everybody in our family did, but at least me and my mom did. We was like, we think that's a good decision to go with. If that's what y'all want to do, we standing by y'all. So at this point, I think is when the doctors were able to switch the emergency contact from me to my cousin. Because at first, when I tried to add my cousin as the emergency contact, they wouldn't let us do it because we can't do that without my aunt's consent, because she wasn't responsive. Like, she couldn't talk. And they had her sedated with the whole ventilator and everything. So without having a power of attorney, we couldn't make that decision for her, which I understand. Because she said before she was put under that she wanted me to be her contact. So they can't change that if she didn't say so. Which is why they wouldn't add my cousin. So, but at this point, I think they went ahead and just did it anyway. Because I think since my aunt wasn't getting better, they were like, okay, so let's talk to her daughter. And they were, you know, getting all the information from Dree. Nene and Dree are talking. They're making decisions together, but you know, Dree's the voice. She's the oldest. So she's talking to the doctors and figuring out what's going on and what needs to be done. And then at this point, she just gives me an update. But I can still call if I want to know anything, but I haven't been because my cousin's doing it. My cousin called the doctor back because he gave us time. He said, you know, just take your time. We'd like to know by today what we, you know, want to do. And again, I'm on my lunch break. I'm talking to my mom and my cousin, and then that's what my two cousins decide to do is the plasma. I mean, my mom was like, cool. Me, my mom and my sister and my brother, like, we were like, cool. That's what y'all want to do? Cool. And Dree ends up calling the doctor back, not me, to give them that final decision. And our lunch is over, so I go back to work, and I try my best to be okay. And I wasn't. One of my friends, my coworker, she is my friend, she could tell. She asked me what was wrong. And I hate when people ask me that when I am sad, because I can't be okay after that. I'm at work, and I work with people, so I need to keep it together because this is personal, and you know, I mean, I'm at work. So as soon as she asked me that, I break down. And she told me, she said, come on, we went into the hallway, and I just broke down. Because I didn't know what to do. I was scared. I was upset. I just didn't know what to do. And I didn't want, because you know, all that information was a lot for me, especially me asking the success rate of the recommended one that the option the doctor gave was 50%. I was like, all I could think in my mind was, I don't want to be the reason my auntie doesn't make it out the hospital, which is why I was so upset. Because I couldn't make that decision. I can't. I told my mama was like, I don't want to. My mama said she didn't want to make that decision either, even though she was the best person to do so because she's dealt with this twice. But she left the decision up to my auntie's daughters, which is what she feels like my auntie would want, because we can't talk to her. Obviously, the doctors would just ask her what to do if she could make a decision, but they can't ask her. She can't respond. But mom didn't want to have to make that decision if they were able. She said she will if it came to that, but she doesn't want to take that away from them because it's their mom. And I agree 100%. I didn't want to make a decision anyway. As soon as I got off the phone with the doctor, I told you I called my mom. Anyway, but yeah, I broke down at work. My lead came, and then the manager of the district where I work, they came and pulled me to the side because they didn't really know, because I didn't just go to work telling everybody what was going on. When I came back from my lunch, I told the lead that I might have to, you know, take any personal phone calls that I may get because my aunt's in the hospital and I'm an emergency contact. And that was after I had already talked to the doctor, my mom, and my cousin about what we decided to do with my auntie. And that's when I went back to doing my job, and then my friend asked me what was wrong, and that's when all that happened. So they came, they put me to the side, and as protocol, when you are exposed to COVID, things need to be done. So I had to do all that, and they called my husband to come pick me up. So me, my cousin, my sister, we all went to go get tested for COVID since we were exposed, since we all rode in the car anyway. My sister was with her all day, but me and my cousin, Nene, took her to urgent care, and Kirsten was there too. So we all went to go get a COVID test. Mine came back negative. My cousin Nene's came back negative. And unfortunately, my sister's came back positive. She spent the whole day with us. She knew as soon as we found out, like the day we took her to the hospital, doctor told us that she had COVID. My sister knew. She knew she had it. She said she could feel it. She tested positive. She had to quarantine for 2 weeks. It sucked, but she made it through. She was good. Nothing bad happened. She stayed hydrated. She stayed in the house. Tuesday, my aunt gets the transplant the transfusion. My cousin Dree, she went up to the hospital so she can sign the paperwork consenting to that treatment that we chose to help my aunt get better. And after that, we got on the phone with the doctor. It was on three-way. It was me, my cousin, Dree, and the doctor. And he was just telling us of, things that we need to just look out for. Good stuff, what we're hopeful for. Bad stuff, what we're hoping doesn't happen. And then if the good things happen, what, after it's going to look like. So basically recovery, What got so bad is that the COVID attacked my aunt's lungs. My aunt, she didn't really have great lungs. She had did a physical, I think, a month before that because she had just started a new job and she had to. And they told her that her lungs weren't great, so she didn't have great lungs in the first place. And then COVID attacked her lungs, which is why the whole ventilator process had to happen and why she had to go up and down because she had weak lungs. So it already attacked her lungs. We're just hoping for it to not get worse. So me, Kirsten, Tristan, my cousins Nene and Dree were talking. We were just like, as soon as she gets out, we have to help her, like lose weight, do all this stuff that caused her to have bad lungs in the first place. So we're just talking about, looking positive, what we need to do for her as soon as she gets out because we can't do this again. Which is, my aunt was at risk because she was overweight. She was morbidly obese and again, bad lungs. So that's why the disease easily attacked her so fast. It's a slow process. So to get daily updates like we were trying to do, weren't going to be realistic because what's much going to change? Especially if we wanted to be positive. So positive thinking, nothing was going to change soon. So he would give us an update every, I think 2 days. This is Tuesday when she got the transfusion. He's going to give us an update Friday. Again, most likely, nothing's going to change. So, because my cousin Dree gives her the update, she tells me nothing's changed, obviously. And, he'll talk to her on Monday. Monday comes, nothing's changed, obviously. And I was actually off that whole week because since I was exposed, I had to be off for a certain amount of time. And once I got my results back that I was negative, then I could return back to work within the time that was allowed for me to come back. Tuesday, my lead asked me how my aunt was doing. And I remember being annoyed because so many people were calling me all the time. Family members that I don't talk to like that. Because they're concerned. They're concerned about my auntie honey, because my auntie talked to everybody. So people who I don't talk to found a way to get in contact with me just so they can figure out, what was going on with honey, which I didn't mind. If you care about it, you care about it, so cool. And so everybody's asking me what's, anything changing. I'm like, no. She's good as long as she's on the ventilator. Right now, we're just in the waiting process for her to get better. So if anything changes, it's not going to be good. So I was ignored at this point by answering, questions about it because, that's all I hear and I just keep saying the same thing and it doesn't give me comfort. But literally as soon as she asked me that and I go, no, as long as she's on the ventilator, she's fine. So we're just trying to stay positive, keep praying, and we have to be patient. That's what I kept saying to people. And I was trying, I really was. And that was Tuesday when I went back to work. And I have to keep my phone on silent. I can't have my phone on at work, obviously. So my phone's going off, and they're like text messages and phone calls, and I'm not paying attention because I can't be on my phone. But when I noticed that my mom and my husband, my mama called me, Kyree called me, they both text me. My mom was like, urgent, call me back as soon as possible. My husband, I think he just said, call me. So when I saw those, I mean, I got scared, obviously. And I told my lady that my mom just texted me, so I went off of the floor so I can go, take a personal call. And I called my mom. And my mom does not cry, for the record. She got on the phone and she asked me if I talked to Kyree. And I said no. And you can hear the cry in her voice. I said, what's going on? She goes, the doctors are giving up on honey. And I just got mad. And I said, what does that mean? She said, I mean, there's nothing else that they can do. I said, but what happened to, all the stuff that we were talking about? When I say every day, be patient, stay positive, and keep praying. Like, it's not even that much later. Like, she just got the transfusion a week ago. And they said, hopefully in a week, she'll be able to come off. But, if not, it'll be 2 weeks. And then after that, it's a long process is what they said. It's going to take a while. So be patient, keep praying, and stay positive is what they kept saying. And I was trying to do that. But a week later, my mom calls me crying and she's like, they're giving up on it. And I was like, I don't understand. My aunt got to the point to where, remember when I said they were using the ventilator? At first they put her on it. I think they put her on it at first, like at 80, maybe 90%. And then again, they're trying to wean her off of the ventilator. So they would like bring her down a little bit. Then as soon as she gets, comfortable with that, they bring it down some more until eventually she can get to the point to where they can take her off. Us sitting here right now, we breathe on our own and probably need a little bit of assistance. At max, 20%. Like if I need some assistance breathing right now, if I get on the ventilator, the most I would need to help me would be 20%. If you need any higher than that, then that's not good. When they first put my aunt on the ventilator, they put her on 80, 90%. And then again, trying to wean her off, they would bring her down, each notch so she can eventually come off. Well, the day they put her on there, she never got to the point to where they could get her down low enough to take her off, which is why she stayed on. And she would do bad every time they bring her down, so they have to take her back up. They gave her the max amount of oxygen and put the ventilator at 100%. Now it happened, we knew that happened because that's why we needed to take measures to make her get better, which is why we had those options. So she was at 100% on the ventilator and max level of oxygen, and she wasn't okay anymore. She was okay on the ventilator, she wasn't okay anymore. She kept getting worse. And when you get worse, after they're giving you the max, there's nothing else that they can do. So I was just mad. I remember I was just holding my head. Cause I was trying to calm. I was at work. I was trying not to cry. And somebody passed me. I was like, "Are you okay?" Which gets beat every time. And I said, "Can I hug you?" And they hugged me, and I just started crying really hard. I asked my mama. I asked her, "What does that mean?" She said, "I mean, there's nothing else that they can do." I said, "They're just gonna take her off the ventilator?" I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking they can't do that, right? They can't do that. I don't know. She's like, They actually told Dree, and I can only imagine how she felt when they told her that. Her mom, she said she got a call from Dree, and when she answered, all she heard was screaming. And my cousin was crying. She was yelling, this is not fair, it's not fair. Why? My cousin, she was staying with her dad, and he got on the phone, and he told my mom what the doctor said. So my mom tried to call me, and I didn't answer him. And she called Kyree, and she told him, and he tried to call me, and I didn't answer because I was at work. My husband ended up calling my sister, Kirsten, and he told her, and Kirsten and Nene were together. And I told you my sister is an emotional person, but she did what she needed to do at that moment for my cousin. She told her. She didn't take it well, obviously. I don't know if it's obvious, but I'm trying not to cry because I'm not gonna cry on here. But yeah, but my coworker, she just said, "Can I hug you?" And she hugged me, and I just said, "They're gonna take my aunt off the ventilator."
Shit.
And I just lost it. I just was crying so hard. So again, this is my first day. This is the day I came back to work after having to be off. And they called my husband to come get me.
Damn.
Because my mom told me that they're gonna put my aunt in a room so we can all come see her. To basically say goodbye. So that sucks so much. But my husband came and picked me up. I went home. I got all my work clothes. And I went straight to the hospital. She was already there. She was waiting for everybody to show up. And my cousins, Nene and Dree, they wanted me to go in there with them. They wasn't gonna let us, they would let us go in there, 3 people, you know, to see her and talk to her and all that. And they wanted me to go with them. And I love my cousins so much. Again, I told you about Annie. She helped raise me and my siblings, so I grew up with her daughters. They're the same age as Kirsten. But we went in the room, and the doctor was talking to us, and I called my mom on the phone, and he was explaining to us, she was explaining to us, she was a nurse, what was going on. And there was another guy that came. He wasn't really a doctor. He was more like I don't know if he was a pastor. He was really just someone for comfort when things like this happen. And she was telling us, there was a machine, like the little monitor that's telling us what's going on. It had her breathing level at 55. Again, that's the highest level. Like they have the oxygen up, and she's on the ventilator 100%. So the ventilator is reading for her, and she's really only taking in like 55% of it. And she's on 100%, and she's still not at 100%. So that's how they knew. Another aunt's doll showed up, and she was mad because I was in there and said that I didn't need to be in there because I'm just the niece. And I wasn't worried about it. I mean, it was her sister, so. And my uncle also showed up. Again, my papa has lots of kids. He showed up he lives in Dallas to see his sister. And I just chose to leave, and she goes, "Well, you can stay, and your aunt and uncles can still come up." I said, "No, it's okay." And I looked at my cousins, and I was like, I think y'all should stay. If y'all want to stay, y'all should stay. I said, "It's just your mom." I said, "I'm going to let them come up here because they want to see their sister." And my mom, she doesn't live here, so she's 4 hours away. So even if she wanted to come down here, she wouldn't have made it in time. So they called my mom on FaceTime so they can all be in there with her. So she saw her 2 sisters and one of her brothers, and she had both of her kids in there. And
I don't even know what to say.
it wasn't even an hour after I left. It was probably like 30 minutes, I feel like.
It's nothing you really can say.
And then my uncle called to tell us that she passed away. It's October 20th. She started a new job because she was ready to leave her apartment. So she wanted to work so she could get some money so she can buy a house. She said she wanted to live in a house. She worked at the bus form. She was a bus aide for a school district, and one of the kids had COVID. And that's how she caught it. She passed away on October 20th. And you know, October 20th, and I didn't think about this that day. Kyree was there, and we were leaving after everything happened. He said, "This is the day I proposed to you." And it was. And I forgot. And I told myself I never would. He proposed to me October 20th, 2017. And I forgot. I don't know what happened in the room, but my mom was on the phone. She was on, I don't know if she was on video call or they were just on the phone with her. But my uncle, he couldn't just take it. He said he was just feeling lightheaded, or he was like he was about to pass out, so he just had to sit down. And there were no chairs in the room, so he had to step out. And I think my mom and him were on the phone together, and I think my mom got disconnected. So when my aunt actually passed away, my mom wasn't on the phone. So when they finally came out, my uncle was hysterical. He was, I mean, rightfully so, his sister was passed away. He was so mad. He was so mad. And the pastor that came out that was talking to us was trying to figure out what kind of arrangements we wanted to. Well, he came out to talk to me, but because I mean, they all know me, the niece that they were talking to about everything. And I was like, I don't know. So my uncle called my mama back, and I didn't know my mama didn't know. So my mom was driving, and my uncle said that they want to know what funeral home that we want to send honey to. And my mom, she cried so hard. I was holding it together really good up until that point, and he called on the phone. He had it on speaker. And when he said they want to know what funeral home that they wanted to send her to, my mom said, "She passed?" And she just started screaming. She cried so hard. She cried so hard, she made Kyree cry. I'm sorry if I sound y'all. I can't help it.
I don't think it's nothing.
I know God, I do. And I'm blessed. I feel blessed. I always have. I always will. And I know there's nothing wrong with going home to him. I know. But they're 19 and 21 and they lost their mom. I'm sad that she's my auntie. They lost their mom, and it just sucks, and I feel for them. They don't deserve that. They didn't deserve that. She doesn't either. But you know, she's home. I mean, heaven is a better place to be. I'm selfish. I'm a selfish person. I don't want her not to be here because I miss her. I mean, she's in the greatest place to be. She's in heaven, but like, I miss her, so I'm upset. And then after that, I mean, when my aunt went into the hospital, I couldn't find the want to post the video. I didn't even know what I wanted to do anymore. I was like, I'm not gonna worry about YouTube. I'm not gonna worry about making any videos until she gets out. When she gets out of the hospital and she's better, then we'll get back. But she never made it out. This is her obituary. And it was Cassandra Hubert, aka or better known as Honey. I don't know where she got that nickname from. My mom probably knows. I think I have plenty of regrets. I'm not even gonna lie. I didn't appreciate her enough when she was here. And I'm sad that I didn't. I'm not saying I mistreated her. I never disrespected her or anything. you know, sometimes she would call and I didn't want to answer because I know what she wanted. My aunt, she didn't have a car. So she called me either when she needed a ride somewhere or when she just want to come over here and just sit. And it just really depended on the day and the time that she called that you knew what it was. When she needed a ride to like the grocery store or something, like yeah, I would answer. I would pick those up. But when it's like this Saturday, the weekend, and she called me at like 10 o'clock, she just want to see what I'm doing and come over here. Like, I was going to come over there around 3. Is that okay? Like, she didn't even ask. She was like, what you doing? I was going to come over there around 3 if that was okay. I was like, yeah, sure. I mean, I ain't doing nothing, I guess. You can come over here and do nothing with me. So sometimes I just wouldn't answer because, sometimes you just don't feel like having company or being bothered. And it wasn't specifically her. It was, anybody. You just, you don't pick up. And I'd give anything for a phone call right now.
I don't even know what to say,
I told y'all, I don't fool my family like that. I truly don't. But my auntie, I did.
I don't think it's nothing you really can't.
A lot of people in my family are actually trash. Again, not really trying to be messy or nothing, but I mean, if you trash, that's your fault, not mine. But my auntie was not. She was a selfless person. She cared too much. Not so much, too much. It's been 4 months. I still find myself finding it hard to believe. Me and my husband, we talk about him all the time, and he can't even believe it too. Like, he legit cried. He loved that woman too. Honey loved Kyree, I know she did, but Kyree loves her too. He loves all my family that I love. I mean, it's his family too, but he actually wrote a song for me about it, and it's what's playing in the background. I'm gonna have the link in it below if you want to listen to it. He came out with a whole album. That's one of the few good things that happened. But I'm putting a link in it below if you want to go listen to it. But it's a song that's been playing on a loop in this whole video. But I said I wasn't gonna try to make this video long, and it turned out being long. I do apologize. I'm sorry. But I felt like I needed to talk about while I've been gone. I feel like I need to get this out before I just come back. You're welcome to join me. Come on for the ride. I'd appreciate it, but you're not required. So if there's anything specific that you want to see, let me know in the comments below. Again, not required, but appreciate it. And I appreciate y'all, who just hung on there and stayed with me. But I'm okay now. I really didn't think I was going to get as emotional as I did, but I didn't cry. At least tears didn't fall from my eyes. Thank you. But I mean, that was that. I didn't do this to get, any pity from anybody, for people to feel sad for me. I really did it for me. I feel like I needed to get this out. Instead of ignoring it, I needed to acknowledge what happened. And I think this really helped me do that. I appreciate y'all for listening, those who stayed all the way through. But I guess until next time, y'all stay blessed.